Welcome to episode 1 of The Weekend Warrior, your monthly Airsoft podcast. I'm your host, Lone Wolf, and I'm very excited to kick off this podcast series with a very special guest. An ambassador for Airsoft Republic, HK Army, and Airsoft Gateway, to name a few. He's been playing Airsoft for about 2 years now, about the same period of time as myself. His roots are in paintball, which he has played for over 9 years, 5 of those being as a sponsored player for Empire Paintball. Welcome, call sign Sinister. Let's get right into the questions. HPA or AEG?
Honestly, I use both. For instance, if I'm playing a 2 or 3 day event without HPA refills, such as a Milsim West event, AEG is a better fit due to the fact that all you have to do is swap out the batteries and go. Now, on the other hand, most of the time, you only start out with about 500 BBs, so you're basically conserving your shots. Therefore, not using an excessive amount of air, such as if you're playing CQB and stuff like that. Benefits on the HPA is obviously it's a lot quieter, as well as the stability of your attachments for GoPros and whatnot. The video footage comes out a lot better for third-person videos. But it's honestly your preference. I know a lot of people that like DSG builds over HPA, but I use both, so that's a good question.
Absolutely. I typically prefer more AEG, just because it's a little bit more cost friendly. But HPA is the way to go if you're looking for silence. So next question. How to become sponsored?
Yeah, this is one of the most asked questions I think a lot of either sponsored players or companies get. I feel like you should just simply ask yourself, what do you have to offer the company? Because chances are there's already someone doing or pursuing what you're trying to do in your niche. You have to do something that makes you stand out from the competition. Your social media has to be on point. You have to have social media nowadays. Most companies sponsor or partner with players based on how much activity or the content and what type of content and consistency your social media accounts have. I suggest posting like 1 or 2 times a day on your social media accounts and maybe like once a week on your YouTube channel, depending on your following and how confident you are on your capabilities of keeping up with that. You have to be willing to put in the work and travel to events and play even events you don't want to go to just to put yourself out there and to get recognized further. People take notice when they see you at multiple events as to where if they see you once a year, it's kind of like oh well, I've heard of that guy, but you want people to actually know you. It's honestly about who you know and your personality. Hanging out or interacting with like-minded individuals that may be already sponsored is always a good thing because you can bounce ideas and ask questions, put in good words for each other and whatnot like that. Remember that company sponsors people that are like the face of their company. So if a player or business frowns upon you, that makes the company look bad as well. So you always want to keep a positive attitude, always call your hits, always be respectful. But yeah, it's about how much you want to put into it. You got to go 130,000% to make it in any aspect of the game.
Yeah, and like you said, being unique is really important. Got to stand out from the crowd, make people recognize you. That's I think that's really important. Developing your brand. What advice would you give a new player?
New players should expect a lot of good, competition. If it's in high demand in your area, chances are you've got more than a few fields to choose from. So, pick and choose where you want to go. There are a lot of things that you can learn from one another. You always, if there's a lot of people in, being a high demand area, you can always bounce ideas and learn things from players that are, maybe a little bit into the sport, a few years or whatnot. Don't worry about wearing GoPros and batteries, and just start out having fun. Work your way into that. Just get used to the gameplay before you go and spend all this money, because who knows, maybe you won't play a month later, maybe you won't want to play, a week later, maybe you'll play for a life, so you never know. I think that you can just expect quite a bit of camaraderie, and lots of new friendships. It's always good being able to get out there to different fields and communicate with people, and just your experiences. I mean, you'll go out there, you'll play, you'll come back. You could sit there, be on opposite teams, and you're just shooting the shit, talking about oh, I did this, oh, I did that, man. I seen you doing that. So it evolves into a friendship of sort. You could be butting heads, playing against each other, but at the end of the day, you guys come together, and it's always a good conversation piece.
Definitely agree with you there. I would definitely suggest new players lean on players that you have been around for a while. Ask them for recommendations when it comes to gear, and just rules and everything. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I would say. So on that note, gear for beginners.
Gear for beginners. Everyone has their own play style. I mean, my personal play style is a combination between Milsim and Speedsoft. So I'm always, either wearing a full kit, and on the other hand, could possibly be wearing joggers and a hoodie, with an HK Army KLR paintball mask. So, I mean, it depends on the look you want to achieve and what basically the gameplay or game mode for that is. For indoor play, I suggest basically athletic wear. Definitely not shorts. I see a lot of this, and then kids wonder why, they get BB stuck in their leg. Common sense. Like for Milsim events, I suggest, either like a tan loadout or a green loadout, so multicam, or maybe OD green, M81 for green as well. A good starter brand could be like Condor, TMC. It's a good mid-level priced option. As far as a rifle, you can never go wrong with a G&G combat machine, or maybe a Lancer Tactical Pro line. That's their new ones. Both start at like $150, $200, so you're not spending too much money. You break it, darn, you got to get a new one, but you're not $1,200 to $1,500 out on a gun, and then basically hating your life. Trust me, I know. But yeah, so get what fits you and what is good for your play style. I mean, if you're a sniper, go ahead and get yourself like a chest harness. Don't get a chest, plate carrier or whatnot. If you're like a heavy gunner, obviously you want to have multiple pouches. Just a lot of factors play into what type of gear you should get. But check around, see what you like, depending on whether you're a Speedsoft or a Milsim player. And then just go from there, build your kit up, watch lots of videos, look at a lot of photos, and yeah. So that's the best way I can explain gear wise for just starting out.
I think as far as gear goes, I would say the most important thing is necessity. At least that's how I create my own kit, my own gear. I always bring only what I need, depending on the gameplay that I'm attending. I always, start from the top. If you don't need it, get rid of it. If you need it, keep it on. That's basically what I would say. Next up is your favorite sidearm.
I'm super into realism, such as my real steel Glocks and 1911s I had of Kimber and whatnot. So I'm a Glock 1911 guy, but I'm also a huge high Kappa fan, just for the simplicity of upgrading them and like the practicality. It's more of a race gun. It's more to get the job done and it's practical, and not just a showpiece. As far as guys more times than not have a Glock or whatever just for their loadout to look legit. They don't ever shoot it. So, favorite sidearm I'd have to say would either be probably a Tokyo Marui Glock 18 or a Tokyo Marui Gold Match High Kappa.
Yeah, definitely love those 1911s. Not a huge Glock guy, but I would agree with you on the 1911s. I have a SOCOM Punisher, and ooh, it's my baby. What should new players expect in states where airsoft is in high demand?
New players should expect a lot of good, competition. If it's in high demand in your area, I mean, chances are you've got more than a few fields to choose from. So, pick and choose where you want to go. There are a lot of things that you can learn from one another. You always, if there's a lot of people in being a high demand area, you can always bounce ideas and learn things from players that are, maybe a little bit into the sport, a few years or whatnot. Don't worry about wearing GoPros and batteries and just start out having fun. Work your way into that. Just get used to the gameplay before you go and spend all this money, because who knows, maybe you won't play a month later, maybe you won't want to play a week later, maybe you'll play for a life, so you never know. I think that you can just expect quite a bit of camaraderie, and lots of new friendships. It's always good being able to get out there to different fields and communicate with people and just your experiences. I mean, you'll go out there, you'll play, you'll come back. You could sit there, be on opposite teams, and you're just shooting the shit, talking about oh, I did this, oh, I did that, man. I seen you doing that. So it evolves into a friendship of sort. You could be butting heads, playing against each other, but at the end of the day, you guys come together, and it's always a good conversation piece.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of these like cheater videos and fights breaking out kind of things are very popular on YouTube, but you really, on the field, you do see a lot of the friendship and, like you said, camaraderie show when you could be shooting each other and a few minutes later laughing about it, A lot of good people. As a new player, just ask questions. I said it before with the previous question. Just ask questions. Don't be afraid to talk to other players. If you're going to games, like if you go to events where you've got leadership, as in a CO, an XO, squad leaders, talk to them. If they're playing in a squad leader, XO, or CO position, they know what they're talking about. They've been around for a while. They know the company that they're helping by filling that role. Definitely lean on them, because like I said, they'll know what they're doing if they're going to handle a role like that. So, what's your opinion on expensive loadouts?
Expensive loadouts. I find that if you're going to build a kit specific to a branch of the military, yes, spend the money, because a lot of the times when you purchase camo or whatnot in your clothing from different stores or like online sites, sometimes even the same site, you always get like a different shade of that camo. It could be lighter or darker. So, picking a brand for a specific kit that such as Cry, it's always going to be the same shade of that camo. But as far as looking the part, I'd advise buying what you feel is comfortable and practical for your specific role on your team. Brands such as Condor, TMC, Emerson, etc., they're always great options for a budget. You don't have to run out and buy the most expensive loadout right away. But a lot of the guys, that have been in for a couple years, few years, I'm guilty of it. You throw some money down. Heck, I mean, guys getting into NVGs, you're putting out a good $2,000 just for some NVGs and a mount. But yeah, so expensive loadouts, if you got the money, go for it. Don't overextend your budget by any means. Get what you can afford.
Absolutely. Get what you can afford. If you want to spend the money, buy Cry or like LBT or LBX, spend the money. But if you can't afford it, there's plenty of cheaper options. I know I have plenty of stuff. I wear a lot of Condor just because it's actually really good quality for such a good price. And it's great because it's all available on Amazon, which is cheap and fast. So definitely, just purchase within your budget. Best advice I can give. So what about average snipers compared to the big YouTube snipers such as House Gamers or Novrich?
I feel everyone has the potential to be a good sniper. I think knowing your engagement capabilities of your weapon and having the proper scope zoomed in as well as your hop up is always important. Wearing the appropriate attire, for your role that you choose is key. Being able to conceal yourself without having cover is honestly the most important part. Not being detected and whatnot. Make sure you have a good sidearm for those up close engagements because you do have engagement distances. Because your rifle is probably shooting 500 FPS or more. But I believe the only difference between a big YouTube personality and your local player is their editing capability in your video editor. Because everyone can shoot from a distance, and you know that the enemy can't engage you from that far away, but you can hit them. You have all the time in the world. So I believe they capitalize on it by having the channel and the branding and having, several hundreds of thousands, in GoPros and cameras, and, they're just investing in themselves. But overall, I think anyone and everyone can be, good as long as they practice and, they keep up with the sport.
I would definitely agree. I think, like anything, being a sniper is a skill you just have to practice and train for. Just concealment, knowing, like you said, knowing your capabilities of your weapon, knowing how the distance that it shoots, what your accuracy is at, having a good scope, and having a good sniper rifle, really. So a major question that I have heard is Airsoft dying?
Not at all. I believe Airsoft as a whole is growing. More and more event coordinators are popping up all over the Northeast. Previously, there was a lot towards the South and towards California because, it's a lot more better weather. The seasons are a lot longer. And the more we as influencers promote and push the sport, the further it will grow. I believe that everything that we're doing, as long as we share it with, the youth and future players, I don't think at all. You go from playing with a Springer in your backyard as a kid to now playing with, $1,500 guns, and riding in Humvees and flying in helicopters. So I don't think anytime soon Airsoft is going to die, to be honest with you.
I completely agree. I think Airsoft is only getting bigger. I see more and more content out there every day. More and more influencers popping up. More and more event coordinators, more events, more fields. I just see the sport growing. It's amazing to see more new players, more older players helping out new players. I see that more more often now. So last question of the podcast episode. Milsim and Speedsoft are two very popular styles of airsoft. You, however, have chosen a different route, one you call Milspeed. Tell me about that.
Milspeed or Speed Sim, whichever you want to call it, to me is basically, the best of the best between the Speedsoft and Milsim combined. For instance, I wear a full loadout. Combat pants, combat top, boots, plate carrier, etc. While at the same time, I could be rocking a paintball mask, with armadillo dreads. So I run tactical yet aggressive when I'm on the field. That's usually my play style. I'm always yelling. I'm always, trying to get everyone on point, trying to get the situation handled, trying to overwhelm the enemy before they can overwhelm us. Thinking on the fly and knowing, how to keep your troops and yourself alive is an acquired skill. I mean, I personally learned from my background in the military and whatnot. So, playing with the same like-minded individuals that you see doing the same movements and whatnot, learn from them, grow from them. Living in Michigan, our airsoft season is pretty short as far as good weather is concerned. Normally, we're playing in, either rain or snow or this or that, the other thing. So, we're playing indoors a lot, which then therefore you'll see guys in full loadouts running around in the building, and same thing. I'm more comfortable being able to move a lot faster with less gear. So, I wear athletic wear. Normally some joggers, a hoodie, paired with, Speed QB battle belt, the chest rig, the nucleus chest rig that they just came out with as well. And I just, try to move fast and keep my head down.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Sinister, for joining us on the first episode of the Weekend Warrior podcast. Don't forget, guys, to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get notified every time I upload. Episodes of The Weekend Warrior will be up monthly, typically more towards the end of the month. Trying to aim for about the last weekend of each month on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Next episode will be Lagoonicorn. That will be uploaded at the end of February. If you guys have any questions for him for that episode, leave them in the comments below. I'll also be posting on Instagram for questions for that episode. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode.